Hi, welcome back. I'm sitting on the ground today, surrounded by a pile of technology and books and phones and computers and iPads to talk to you about productivity because I saw a comment on one of my videos, I'll put it right here somewhere, asking sort of like how I stay organized, and it's also just something that I feel like I get in Instagram DMs because I do many jobs, and I think with that comes a lot of organization. So I wanted to kind of just make a video on like my favorite productivity tips, how I stay organized, my favorite apps and tools, and all the good stuff that I do every single day to keep me feeling organized. I'm a product designer at a startup. I work fully remotely, which is really convenient because I get to work from home in my PJs, which is amazing. And that I'm also a content creator and a personal trainer, and I create fitness programs, make content on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and then I even work with one-on-one clients doing personal training too. So it's kind of a lot of balls in the air, so to speak, juggling a lot of balls. But I feel like I also am just like a productivity nerd. Like I don't know, it makes me happy to find new productivity tools. And so whenever I find things that work for me, I want to share them with other people because I feel like it's such a trial and error process finding what works for you. And once you find it, if you're like me, you just want to tell a million people about it because you want them to feel productive and organized because it's such a good feeling. It's so relieving. So now we can get into the video. Okay. I also want to caveat that this like productivity routine changes. Not a lot, but probably a couple times a year, at least once a year, if not like 2 or 3 times a year. And the reason is that just like my schedule changes or I find a new tool that I like more. Like I'm always kind of experimenting with my productivity routine to find what works for me. And because of that, I do kind of like switch it up every once in a while. And I think that's part of the process. Like I used to get so mad at myself when I would change up my routine. Like in my head, I was like, if I find a planner, I need to use this planner until I die. And if I don't do that, I'm failing, which I don't know why I put that like intense pressure on myself to find a solution that worked forever, but that's just not sustainable. Like at the end of the day, you're going to try other things and you might find something that you like better, and that's totally fine. So I think why not just like go with the flow a little bit and be open to finding new stuff that works for you. The first tool I'm going to talk about is my iPad. I have the iPad mini, the new generation. I think it's the iPad mini 6, and I keep it very minimal. I love how I can literally hold it in one hand. I had the larger size, the Pro, and I ended up selling that because I just felt like once I got the mini, I stopped using the Pro. I can do a whole video on this and like what's on it and how I use it if you guys want, because that could literally be a video in and of itself. But the tool that I'm going to talk about in terms of productivity is my planner. So I use GoodNotes. There are a couple different note-taking tools on iPads that are like compatible with Apple Pencil. I love GoodNotes. I think it's my favorite. I've tried Notability. I liked it. It just wasn't my like favorite. But I love GoodNotes. And the reason is that it's super flexible. You can import pictures, you can draw shapes. It'll snap lines and turn things into like rectangles and squares for you. And it's just super, super easy to use. And there's tons of, you have like an unlimited amount of pen colors to choose from and highlighters. So it's a lot more convenient than carrying around like a bag full of pens and highlighters. And because of the field that I'm in, I honestly designed some of my own planners because I'm a little bit type A and I am like, I know exactly what I want. So sometimes I just end up designing them myself. But I have also used a couple different planners. One of them is called the Dash Planner, and I really like that. It's an undated planner. I can link it down below, and I think you can buy it on like their website. And if you get the undated version, you can start anytime, and then you can also buy just like the regular version, and it's dated for the year of 2022. I have recently switched back to a physical planner. I talked about this in my last video. This is the Still Planner. It's the weekly undated version. And I love physical planners because I can always leave them open, whereas the iPad like falls asleep or dies and I need to charge it. This is just like, I can always just leave it open on my desk and keep track of what I have to do that day. And I love the way that this planner is laid out because it is undated. So I started mine in March, and that's totally fine because you just fill the weeks in as you go. But I also love that it has tasks on one side and then like an open space for your schedule on the other side. So for jobs like mine, I'll put like my work tasks, like my corporate task on the left page, and then on the right page, I do all of my social media planning. So I'll write down like YouTube post on Monday, YouTube post on Thursday, film on Wednesday, edit Wednesday night. Like take pictures for this brand on Tuesday, take pictures for this brand on Sunday, like send pictures for review on Monday morning. So I can sort of keep track of like all of my social media planning on one side, and then I can keep track of all of my corporate planning on the other side, and I can do it all in one book, which I love. That brings me to my next planning tool, and that is a tool that you can just dump your like parking lot to-do list items. This was like a game changer for me in my productivity routine. For a long time, I tried to do this all in one place. I tried to use my planner as a place to also dump my parking lot of to-do lists that I need to get done. And I just felt disorganized because your parking lot of to-do lists is like, look at it as where you put any item that you just think of. Even if it's something that you have to do like 6 months from now, but you're in the shower and you're like, oh my God, I need to do this thing in like 3 months, but I can't forget. Put it in the parking lot. It's not ready to go in the planner yet, because for me, the planner is like something that I fill out on a weekly basis. So I'm looking more like granular level at that week. The parking lot is just like a ton of things that have no timeline associated with them and just need to get done. So for that, I use TickTick. And I love TickTick because it's an app, and it's on my computer, it's on my iPad, and it's on my phone. So I can pretty much access it wherever I am. And the beauty of it is that you can create different lists for different things. So I always kind of have like a parking lot for work, for like miscellaneous, and then for wedding, because that's just the time in my life that I'm in right now, is like the heat of wedding planning. So I always have like 10 to 15 wedding things to do. But depending on where you're at in your life, your lists could be different. You could have like a parking lot for your work, a parking lot for your kids, and then something for miscellaneous. Or maybe it's just work and miscellaneous, or maybe it's work, school, and miscellaneous. So it's nice because you can just create different lists depending on like what kind of time you are, or like where you are at in your life. And then the cool thing about TickTick is that you can actually view all of your lists at once, or you can view them one at a time. So sometimes I have a view that's all of my lists, just so I can see like the mega long list of to-do things that I have to do eventually. Or sometimes I look at it list by list, and I only look at the wedding stuff, or I only look at the work stuff. And I also like that it's on my computer, because if I'm in the middle of a meeting and I'm talking to like a product manager on my squad, and he's like, oh yeah, we need to think about onboarding for mobile in 3 months. I'll just write it down in my parking lot on TickTick. And then that way it doesn't have to take up a spot in my planner, because the space in my planner is limited. Like there's a limited amount of lines for to-dos, but I know it's getting written down somewhere, so I don't have to worry about it just taking up brain space. Like I'm not going to forget about it. It's in the parking lot. And then what I do once a week, usually on Sundays, like Sunday evenings or Monday morning, is I look at my parking lot on TikTok or on TickTick. Now that TikTok exists, I wonder if TickTick is upset. But I look at my parking lot on TickTick and I move tasks into my planner for the coming week. What is the priority stuff that I need to get done this week? And that's what I put in my planner. The stuff that's actually feasible for me to get done in a week, not like impossible that I'm not going to get all these things done. And then the planner also just naturally gets filled up throughout the course of the week. Like I had to return an Amazon package that I got on Monday, and I needed to return it before Thursday. So that went in the planner. So the last piece of this is Notion. And I think people love Notion. Like it's all over YouTube. There's a ton of cool ways to organize your Notion, and like templates, and it's honestly like really cool. It's a little bit out of my depth. Mine is like kind of basic, but I feel like that's the beauty of Notion. Anything that needs a little bit more space to like write or iterate, that goes in Notion. So I have an entire project and folder for wedding planning. And inside of that, I have pages, a page for our honeymoon, a page for the band, the videographer, the photographer, the DJ, the ceremony, the reception, the, you know, all the bridesmaids and their shoe sizes and their dress sizes. Like, so that's sort of like it's kind of like Google Docs. It's just where I keep everything, that obviously I'm not going to write all of that down in my planner manually, and I'm not going to write it all down inside of my, you know, tick tick to-do list app. It just doesn't make sense. So I kind of realized I needed a space where I could just have a lot more space to write, but keep things really organized. I keep all of my work notes in here for my corporate job. So if I'm ever like, you know, on a call and I'm just like furiously writing notes, I do that in Notion too. I have something for like apartment hunting because Ben and I are kind of casually starting to look for apartments here. So I have a list of like all of the potential places we like, the neighborhoods we want to live in, prices, square footage, all that stuff. Let's take the task, order bridesmaids' shoes. I had that in my parking lot on TickTick for a really long time. And then once it actually came time to order the shoes, you know, we're 2 or 3 months out from the wedding, it's time for me to order the shoes. I put it in my planner as an actual to-do list item for that day. And then when I went to order the shoes, I pulled up Notion, which is where I have all of the bridesmaids' shoe sizes. When I was using my iPad to plan, it basically just replaced my still planner. So I just used it for my digital planning. Right now, because I'm not really using my iPad for digital planning, I mostly use it for drawing and reading. Like I draw my YouTube thumbnails on it. I like just doodle, make iPhone backgrounds, whatever. I do that all on my iPad still, but I'm not using the digital planner right now. Definitely recommend like finding what works for you and trying a bunch of different things out. But I hope this helps. I hope it kind of just gives you like an overview of how I use these tools and how I stay organized. And I'm always happy to do a deep dive into anything like this. I love productivity stuff. I'm not perfect, obviously. I have weeks where I literally don't even open up my planner and I don't do anything on my to-do list, but generally this just helps me feel a little bit more organized. So I hope it helps. And if you liked this, feel free to subscribe. If you want to see more content like this, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys soon. Have a good day. Bye.